Good morning for the first time today, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely honest. 100% the first time today. Nice. Gentlemen, absolutely. And the mic audio is still good. Anyway, welcome into twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. This is Bib, and this is the first time today we've gone live. Ish.
Absolutely.
Ish. No, we went live a couple of seconds ago. But my whole internet went off. Let's just leave it at that. Everything went down. But we're back. We are back. I will start fresh, though. So if you are watching this on YouTube, this is just the first time. We're not going to merge two videos. We are just going to kick things off again. I did mention that my name is Graham Day, and I did mention that Bibby looks like the fresh babe of Belle Hyde. It looks very 80s with his styling that's on there. It looks pretty good. And then we got a raid from Tharian Drake, and basically Tharian Drake killed all of the internet in Salford Land, and we went offline, so it's all Tharian Drake's fault. But anyway, thank you everyone for being here. My name is Graham, this is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and this is The Scoop, your daily dose of news from the world of video games and beyond, and some may say the UK's #1 video game podcast. We may be those people, but it still counts. We are going to give you our thoughts and impressions on the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games. And we want your thoughts and impressions on behalf of everyone watching and listening on demand. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m.-ish. It's now 10:59, although technically this is the second time we went live, so it's fine, 10 a.m.-ish, each and every single weekday, twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. We turn this live stream into a podcast, a video for YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat, please feel free to get involved on behalf of everyone watching and listening on demand a little bit later on. I know I said that pretty quickly, but some people have heard this twice today, so there we go. Before we get into things, and this is kind of where we got to previously, a couple of bits of things to mention. The first one is the insert coin stream family. ! Insert coin won't work because chatbot is down. Nice. ! Insert coin when chatbot comes to life will give you details on how we are partnered. We are part of the insert coin stream family, and we streamed last night. So much appreciation to a lot of you guys that were in there with us in that stream last night. You all showed up. You cheered us on. Me and Bib played A Way Out, which is an amazing game, and it was all good. And the other thing to mention is the loot drop! Loot drop. I still haven't actually put the tweet out, to be fair. I will do that. But we are giving away a piece of Ice Cream Uploads merchandise of your choice. We do have the art, just haven't put it out. So we have the Ice Cream Uploads loot drop! Loot drop in the chat. Basically, if you're a sub, you get entered into a draw to win a prize every month. And that's it. You can only enter if you're a sub, so subs have a good chance of winning because obviously the numbers are restricted. It's good. It's just our way of saying thank you to everyone that supports the channel. Anyway, breathe. Insert coin last night, babe. How do you think it went?
I think it went superbly. I mean, I was expecting something decent from that game because I know a lot of people have been talking it up for a long time, saying that it's one of the best co-op games that they've ever played, and it turns out that they are absolutely right. It was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. The only annoying thing is now we have to wait 8 weeks to be able to conclude it. But a bit of suspense. We'll be loving it.
The transition took forever on my screen then. I don't know if that worked instantly for you, but it was slow for me. But we're good. Anyway, yeah, if you missed last night's stream, Insert Coin shared the VOD link on their Twitter yesterday, so you can go see it by checking out them on Twitch, twitch.tv/official Insert Coin. You can see the VOD on there. So yeah, there you go. It's nice. Like Bib said, 8 weeks. We have to wait until we get to play the second part of A Way Out, but it's fine. There's a lot more content coming from us and from the official Insert Coin channel between now and then, so plenty to get your teeth stuck into. It says starting soon. I can see your start screen. Nice. Okay, we're back. By now, you could have relieved yourself some by going for a coffee or a poop. What?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I did. Graham gone to test the PUBG update, in my opinion. Maybe I did. I might play some PUBG after this, actually. We will see. The reason the internet went down, the reason why, unless you're watching this on demand, this is the second time we start the stream today, is because we are having work done in the house. You've probably heard the noise over the last week or so. That's the reason why the internet went off, and it needs to go off again shortly. So I may play PUBG this afternoon, and I may not. Yeah. And I may play PUBG, and it might be in 2 bits. We will see. Mad says, good thing we didn't get into the news. Well, that's the reason we started again. because it's easy to export from Twitch to YouTube, but if you want to export and then put two parts together, you need to use video editing software. It just makes Bibby's life miserable. So yeah, there you go. That's why. I want to know what that PUBG update is. Gonna play it today, first time ever on Xbox. The update is there's a new vehicle. If it's the same as the PC one, there's a new vehicle and a few tweaks and changes to the game. It's not. I don't think it's anything drastic, but yeah, that's pretty much what the update is. Yikes, that transition was rendered by hand. It was rather slow. Yeah, exactly. It was the next line of your Wonderwall parody, but I missed out the word out. Okay, there you go. Sex ban being created. Yeah, that's the one. I'm having a sex ban being installed in the house, so that's the reason why everything went off. Anyway, let's jump into some news. We have a few stories to talk about. So unsurprisingly, there will be conversations about the PS5s as well. But rather than starting the show and talking about them for an hour, we are leaving that till the end of the show today. I know, bizarre, absolutely crazy. Okay, I will jump into the next bit of news. I'm going to bring this up on screen. Whilst I do that, I'm going to end and rejoin the call with Bib because I think we're out of sync again because Bib's mouth moved and then about 5 seconds later I heard, no way. so yeah. Oh, first little bit of news. Is on your screen right now. There we go. This is an article written by Yin-Poole at Eurogamer. And it says, European Commission fines Valve and 5 publishers €7.8 million for geo-blocking Steam games. Update! Valve insists it cooperated and plans to appeal. Okay, we'll jump past the update and we'll give you the full article as it went. So the original story, the European Commission has fined Valve and 5 publishers $7.8 million for geo-blocking PC games. Valve, Bandai Namco, Capcom, Focus Home, Koch Media and ZeniMax, aka Bethesda, were all fined for breaching EU antitrust rules. The European Commission said the companies restricted cross-border sales of certain PC games on the basis of the geographical location of users within the European Economic Area, EEA, violating EU antitrust rules. The Commission published a useful graphic below explaining what went on. I have not seen this graphic, so we'll come back to that one. The fines were reduced for the publishers because they cooperated with the Commission, and here's the breakdown. Bandai Namco had a €340,000 fine, reduced by 10%. Capcom, but down to ZeniMax. Focus Home had a 10% reduction and a €2.8 million fine. ZeniMax, Bethesda, 1.6 million fine. So the commission said Valve refused to cooperate and so slapped the US company with a heavier fine, €1.624 million, than they would have had otherwise. We asked Valve for comment. Today's sanctions against the geo-blocking practices of Valve and 5 PC video game publishers serve as a reminder that under EU competition law, companies are prohibited from contractually restricting cross-border sales, said Executive Vice President Margrethe Vestager, who is in charge of competition policy. Such practices deprive European consumers of the benefits of the EU digital single market and of the opportunity to shop around for the most suitable offer in the EU. It may get worse for the publishers. The Commission said any person or company affected by the anti-competitive behaviour described in this case may bring the matter before the courts of the member states and seek damages. In cases before national courts, a Commission decision constitutes binding proof that the behaviour took place and was illegal. Okay, now we'll jump back up to the update. Update. Valve has issued Eurogamer with a statement disputing the European Commission's claims and vowing to appeal. A Valve spokesperson told Eurogamer during the 7-year investigation, Valve cooperated extensively with the European Commission, providing evidence and information as requested. However, Valve declined to admit that it broke the law as the EC demanded. Valve disagrees with the EC findings and the fine levied against Valve. The EC's charges do not relate to the sale of PC games on Steam, Valve's PC gaming service. Instead, the EC alleges that Valve enabled geo-blocking by providing Steam activation keys and, upon the publisher's request, locking those keys to particular territories, region locks, within the EEA. Such keys allow a customer to activate and play a game on Steam when the user has purchased it from a third-party reseller. Valve provides Steam activation keys free of charge and does not receive any share of the purchase price when a game is is sold by third-party resellers, such as a retailer or other online store. The region locks only applied to a small number of game titles, approximately just 3% of all games using Steam, and none of Valve's own games at the time were subject to the contested region locks in the EEA. Valve believes the EC's extension of liability to a platform provider in these circumstances is not supported by applicable law. Nonetheless, because of the EC's concerns, Valve actually turned off region locks within the EEA starting in 2015, unless those region locks were necessary for local legal requirements, such as German content laws, or geographical limits on where the Steam partner is licensed to distribute a game. The elimination of region locks may also cause publishers to raise prices in less affluent regions to avoid price arbitrage. There are no costs involved in sending activation keys from one country to another, and the activation key is all a user needs to activate and play a PC game. We've asked the European Commission for a response, so a very heavy article to start things off. But the gist, Valve and a bunch of publishers fined some very hefty fines for blocking Steam games geographically. Bib, what are your thoughts?
Region locking's been like, I mean, this is a lot of heavy stuff, and I am genuinely like too thick to understand most of this stuff. But as far as I'm aware, like locking games to region locking games has always been a thing. Like it's still a thing on PlayStation now. Like if I was to play PES with someone in America, I can't do that because we've got 3 different versions of the game. Like I didn't realize that you could get fined for that. Is that the context of the story?
The gist of it, yeah. So the gist of it is Valve and publishers like Capcom, Bethesda, Koch Media, and others that were in there are creating games, and they're having, rather than having a European version, they're having a Turkish version and a Spanish version and a German version, allowing different prices to be assigned to different games. I imagine the reasons a company would want to do that is a country that has a higher gross domestic product, a country with more money, will be able to afford more expensive games. A country with less money won't. So if you have a game that's 50 quid across the board, some countries will be like, yoink! Some countries will be like, 50 quid's a bit steep. Yeah. So the Turkish version, for example, may drop to 20 quid, 30 quid. And people will, okay, I'll buy that now. I can afford that one now. 50 quid prices it out of the market, 20 quid puts it in a market. But if you put it at 20 quid across the board, you lose out on shit loads of money if you're selling millions of copies of that game. So having region lock games would allow them effectively to put lower priced products in markets where prices are low. That does go against the European Commission of having a single market, though. Having all of Europe, allowing everyone to get the best of what Europe has to offer, does have a conflict.
Right,
there.
okay. Well, thank you for breaking that down, because again, I am thick to stuff like this. So yeah, that makes a hell of a lot more sense. And yes, this should be fine. But does that not? I mean, playing devil's advocate, does that not make more sense? Because you technically, if the game was £50 across the board, there's a lot of people that don't earn a massive wage or a good living wage will never be able to play these games because they're always going to be priced out. However, if they was to drop the price and everyone can afford the £20, then they're losing out on money. Is that the better of two worlds, shall we say? So they could drop the price for everyone to be able to afford it rather than the actual retail price, which they think their time as well. Because I mean, don't forget the games have literally just gone up on average about £10 now. So we're looking at between 50 to maybe 60 or £65 per game. An increase that's probably been in the works for a number of years. Video games haven't really gone up in price over the years. They may come out with a new console at a high price, but eventually they all start to drop between like the £35-45 mark eventually, maybe after 18 months. But now we're going to start to see games going full whack and probably will maintain their £55 to £60 price point for a lot longer. That inflation has been coming for a long time. We just haven't seen it. So does that mean that the rest of the world has to grin and bear that, taking this into consideration?
I don't know. I've still to develop opinions fully on this. I mean, this is not something that I'm going to profess to be an expert on at all, by the way. If you do have any insights, feel free to jump in. This would be a good one to help for you guys to help carry us on this one. Because my initial instincts would be If a company knows that it can't sell a game for 50 quid in a company that doesn't have a high gross domestic product, then okay, well, it makes sense for that company to be able to sell it at a cheaper price in that country. But then I instantly think, okay, what if we have a hypothetical border between two countries? And a border is a big line on a map, but in reality, a border isn't necessarily anything in a lot of places. So you effectively could have one neighborhood, one business district that straddles the border of two countries. What if someone is in one office block and wants to play a game, or one apartment block and wants to play a game, and someone literally in the other apartment block over the road, exactly the same building, built by the same manufacturer? Obviously, very hypothetical conversation, because there's all sorts of shit that could stop that. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. We are both on the same sort of wages and salaries. We're in the same area. The businesses in the same area give the same sort of salaries, even though they're in different countries technically. So why am I spending 50 quid on a game when you're spending 20 quid on a game because you're in a different country, even though you could be earning more than me? And then you start to get into those sorts of intricacies of, okay, is that fair? Should I be creating a dodgy account or something saying I'm 100 meters down the road, or yeah, I don't know. Panda says, I lost connection. That sucks to be you. We have no idea what that feels like.
Shit me up, man.
Sorry, what were you saying, babe?
Yeah, it's same as I consider video games now to obviously be in the same kind of media category as your TV shows and your films. If not, video games actually make more. So the budget that they have to create the games needs to be recuperated somewhere. They can't specifically run the game at a loss in every single district. That doesn't make any sense. It's the same way that in Manchester, I mean, this is probably a weird example, but in Manchester, if you go to like the Odeon or the IMAX, you could probably go and see a film for like 7 or 8 quid. But if I was to go to the Cineworld near me in Ashton, that's like 10 to £15 that you're going to pay for an adult ticket. The people in Manchester are probably more likely to be able to go in, and there's going to be a lot more footfall through that one than there is in my local one. So that probably makes more sense to drop the price there, because I'll have more people coming in to watch stuff and making it a little bit more affordable. But mine, they're probably they won't get as many people coming in, so they're probably trying to boost the price up a little bit more so that they could try and run at a profit or trying to stay open. So that kind of makes sense. But films and TV shows have a budget. If they was to run every single game at £20, which is probably £30-40 less than what they're able to try and recuperate their losses back in, every single media would probably run at a loss. Especially in areas that they probably have more footfall, more people are probably more prone to buying it. Like, it wouldn't make sense for a football game in America, like a soccer game, we'll say for the sake of this, because if I say football, they'll probably think actual American football, which is garbage, by the way. If they was to run a FIFA game or Pro Evo over there, I imagine it may be a little bit cheaper than the likes of Madden and maybe NHL, purely because that isn't the main sport over there. I've got absolutely nothing to support that claim. It just, for me, it would make more sense to be able to do that over there. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that does. I was just trying to. I was quite because I was just trying to find a cartoon to kind of stress a point. It may be not a great example of something to stress a point, but I will maybe share it as we go. So if, like you said, a publisher can't sell something at 20 quid across the board, they have set budgets. They can do certain things in certain territories according to those budgets, but the publisher wouldn't be able to sustain themselves. Nobody would have any games if it was 20 quid everywhere. They wouldn't make the money back. Yeah. So is it fair then for everyone to have different prices in each area?
I think so. Yeah, I think, especially in the UK, I think our living wage is a hell of a lot more than it would be in a lot of areas of Europe. I mean, it probably isn't the best. It probably isn't where it should be, but I tell you, it's a hell of a lot more than it should be in a lot of places, and it currently is. So that for me makes absolute sense. I have to pay more because I earn more. That makes perfect sense. If someone is earning less than minimum wage somewhere in a country that's probably poverty stricken, then why are they being charged the full amount? That makes no sense. That's not fair. I mean, in the interest of fairness, I think this is perfectly fair. But I don't. Again, I am ignorant and dumb to this subject, so I don't know the entire ins and outs. But on paper, the way that we've kind of discussed it between us, I think that makes perfect sense. We earn more as a country, therefore we should be charged more. I mean, it wouldn't be.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is it fair for everyone to spend 30, 35 quid on a game? Or is it fair for some countries to spend 20 quid on a game, some countries to spend 30 quid, some countries to spend 50 quid, depending on whatever? I mean, it's not really national averages. It will be usually be based on all sorts of financial data backed up based on retail for that specific country. Maybe even just on that company's retail records. They may have history saying, if we sell at 50 quid, we're going to sell 1,000 copies. We sell at 30 quid, we will sell 100,000 copies. We sell at 20 quid, we'll sell 150,000 copies. But we make more per box if we sell at 30 quid, or we make more on average. So the prices usually are defined by the companies. So yeah, what do you think? What do you guys think? The reason I'm asking, is it fair to have prices differing, or should it be the same across the board? Which one do you guys think is the most fair? Different levels of marketing per area means the price may need to be different, says Salty Dog. That's also a good point. That definitely does impact on the price. Gary says, it doesn't affect me if it's cheaper in other countries. Other stuff is cheaper in other places. So it doesn't matter if it's the same with video games, in my opinion. Do you know what? I agree. I do agree. Playing devil's advocate to what Bibby was saying, but I agree with him. And the reason I agree is this. I found the image that I was looking at. And I actually first saw this in regards to race during all of the Black Lives Matter, the start of that campaign last year, following the George Floyd element. This image is the difference of equality versus equity. So there we go. The image, I'll scroll up a little bit. Apologies if I'm completely missing the boat here. I'm trying to draw comparisons. I don't mean to show video game pricing is the same as racial equality there, by the way. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's completely different, a completely different element, but the fundamentals behind the conversation and the meanings in them can be extrapolated. So on the left, we have everyone in Europe has a £20 price fee. The people, this dude on the left here, this tall guy, is a very economically developed country. Yeah, I can see the baseball game, but I can enjoy the full game. 20 quid, nice, bosh, and so on. Okay, as you move along, actually, let me say that again. Nope. Okay, I'm ballsing this up now. I think I have ballsed it up. Okay. Let's say not a £20 price fee. Let's say it's 30 to 35 quid, which makes it less accessible for people that don't have much money. So everyone has a flat price. People that earn more can get involved. People that earn a little bit less still get involved, but not as well. People that are at the bottom end of the spectrum can enjoy the full game. If you have where people pay more for the game, depending on their gross domestic products and their national averages, means that we get a difference of equality. We're not basing on what you earn. We're basing it on does everyone get a shared experience? So I don't have a problem with the shared pricing. I know this is a complete different conversation because it's economics in terms of we're talking the legals versus the European. Was it the EC, European Commission? Is that what it was? So yeah, anyway, to finish the analogy, this is someone that gets essentially a lot of support with pricing. So rather than it being 50 quid or 30 quid, it's 20 quid. These guys are paying 30 quid, but everyone can still enjoy the full game. That's equity as opposed to equality. So yeah, if you have any sort of like foundation experience in terms of how the European Commission is better, feel free to throw in the contrasting opinions. We are fumbling through this, so feel free to jump in. Sorry, what were you going to say then?
Asim makes a very good point. He says it might be fair, but simple thing here is that EU has a single market rule. I have no idea. Like that's why I'd much rather someone who is clued in, and Asim is absolutely clued in with stuff like this. So yeah, we'll take his word for it. But that does make sense, and that's obviously why it's gone as far as it's gone. But for me, it's like it doesn't make sense. Like, fair enough if the publisher wants to be able to try and make it accessible, because gaming and everything should be accessible for everyone, regardless of what it is. maybe it comes at a price still. It can't just be free because there's no way that the economy of anything will be able to run if everything was free, but it should be at least accessible to everyone regardless of their situation. So if it's an achievable amount, like say if a video game was priced in a poorer country at £20, and that is just above that is achievable. Obviously, they will still have to earn it some way, like through work or however. They'll still have to achieve it. But to say that they would still have to pay full price for it, that doesn't make it accessible, and for me, that doesn't make it fair. So to a degree, I mean, again, I have no law practice when it comes to this stuff. I am genuinely thick, so that makes it sense for things to be fair. But then again, that's just I want things to be enjoyable by everybody.
Yeah, that's where
You
we
have
fall.
to earn it somehow.
That's where we
But
fall back into the is fair and right the same as what is legal.
Yeah.
And that's
I can't afford everything. It's a simple fact. I can't afford everything. I would love to be able to afford every single game that comes out, a brand new graphics card.
Don't be listening to this. This is Bibby Lambo. He's literally got a graphics card and a CPU sat in his Lambo outside. Don't believe it.
I mean, if Cooler Master PCs or Scam want to get involved, and give me brand new PCs, especially the £920 CPUs that are just coming out, that would be absolutely fantastic. But the truth of the matter is, we can't afford everything that comes out. It's not accessible to us. We still earn money, but we still have other things to be able to pay for. So it's the same as the rest of the world, but
so
it's more our parts more expensive here than they are in other countries. I imagine so.
Probably. That does come back to, though, like I was saying, we've had it on a few different things. What's legal versus what is right. Is it right to charge people the same price all along? But then that's when we're talking about what is right. Is that exploitable then? I mean, there's a reason why the European Commission have put this flat rate across the board in, is because they don't want any exploitation in certain areas. Let me just close my blind because the light is becoming unbalanced. They don't want any exploitation across certain areas. They want a level playing field across the board.
Yeah.
And where was it? Asim's comment? He just had one. There we go. If it's in euros, it needs to be the same price across the board, no matter what. Don't think that was the case here, hence the fines. But EU antitrust rules were broken. That's the bit that gets my attention. Then antitrust. Antitrust is basically price fixing. Antitrust laws are there to stop monopolies. If a company has a monopoly on a market, they can boost the prices and take more money off you. Basically, that's why scalping is bad, because it's antitrusting. They're hijacking the market using technology to push the prices up. That's why, if it does get stopped legally, it'll be under those kind of laws. Anyway, antitrust is to stop price fixing. If organisations have the ability to set certain prices in certain areas of a single trade commission, you will then start to get the potential of price fixing. And yeah, that just sets a whole. Oh, got an email coming in. Get out of here. Yeah, that sets.
Okay.
Yeah, just I need to kill my email box because it's open, so I'd get email alerts every time emails coming in. I think the exception might come in where currency is different, but even some rules there.
It's better than Slack, and you get someone like Robo.
Robo. Do you know how you said that? I'm gonna move my Slack over here and mute my Slack.
Get it wrong every single time.
You're like RoboCop, Daniel. Say it and he appears. Okay, say Game Pass 3 times, babe. See if you can make him conjure him.
I've actually got a story that I can tell towards the end of the stream as well.
Okay.
Something to look forward to, I suppose.
There you go. Story time. It's like Jack and Ori. I think the exception might come in. Well, I've read that bit actually. So yeah, in terms of, let's move on. I think we've probably gone down as far as we can in this world. Definitely food for thought there in terms of, is equality versus equity fine? And even if you do have equality across the board, I mean, even if you do have equity, which in reality, I suppose, in a lot of situations is a good alternative, a better alternative. Is that the better alternative here with antitrust and price fixing? Maybe not. The issue, though, the tiniest issue within it is that Valve got slapped with a heavy fine, whereas everyone else didn't. So Bandai Namco got a 10% reduction for cooperating, Capcom 15%, Focus Home, Koch Media, and ZeniMax all got 10% reductions on their fines. Valve got hit with a heavier fine of 1.62 million extra because they weren't cooperating with the commission. Valve, however, said that they were cooperating. All they were doing was saying that they weren't guilty. They basically had been labelled by the commission and said that we aren't guilty, we refuse to accept that. We will cooperate and give you all the evidence you need. I'm just not taking your decision that we are guilty as at face value. Is that fine? What do we think on that in terms of should they? I mean, I don't know. Maybe let's not jump into that one because there's all sorts of things of should they get a chance to fight themselves. Maybe they do get that in a court of law. I imagine none of us have got the information on how that sits out, so maybe we don't discuss something we don't really know there. But yeah, Valve did say that they were assisting and that they believe they were innocent because all they were doing was providing their partners, the people that make the games for their system, with the ability to deliver the games how they wanted. Valve didn't make money from the separate EU pricing and didn't deliver it themselves. So are they as bad as they are? Should they be fined an extra 1.6 million because they don't believe they're guilty? I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that goes because I don't, on paper, with my very limited knowledge, just from that, it doesn't sound like they should be punished, should they? I don't know. Do you guys know anything? I don't know.
They should have hired the lawyers that Man City used to get away from FFP, and they would have been able to get away scot-free.
Exactly. It's the Eurozone, not zones. The reason the EU bailed out Greece and the others in the financial crisis stopped the euro being worth different amounts in individual countries. There you go, David with a logic bomb. Okay, let's move forward. Let's go into this one. We don't speak about this too often, actually, despite it being huge on Twitch. Jay Peters at the